So, Ginger,
Yeah?
you know how we wanted to start a podcast, but we were having trouble coming up with a topic?
Yeah?
Okay, so here's my pitch. The topic of the podcast is us trying to come up with the topic for the podcast.
What, like we pitch each other podcast ideas and that's the podcast?
Yeah, exactly. We could call it, What Should Our Podcast Be About?
Miles, that's really stupid. Let's do it.
What should this song be about? I'm trying to figure it out. What should this song be about? Could you perhaps help me out? I've had a moment of doubt. What should this song be about? Welcome to What Should Our Podcast Be About? The podcast where we try to figure out what this podcast that you're listening to right now should be about. I'm Miles Grover.
And I'm Ginger Barham.
I don't have any corrections, I don't think, from last time, so that's a win.
I do. You were wrong about everything.
Oh no. Dang it.
Again.
Once again, as usual. So I guess unless you have any preambles, we can just get right into
That was my preamble.
It was good.
Yeah.
Everyone clapped.
I think you're wrong about that.
Damn it, another correction. Should we get into ideas? Do you have ideas?
I have a few
Okay.
ideas.
Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
A podcast where the podcast is just us doing sound checks.
Okay.
And that's it.
3,
That's
2,
the whole
1. Check, check,
podcast.
check. 1, 2, 3. Check.
Unique New York.
Check, check. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Yeah.
Do you do just tongue twisters to do mic checks? I guess. You can.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, that's how I warmed up in drama class. So I assume
Okay.
that's what I should be doing for podcasts. It's the only warm ups I know.
Okay. Fair enough, I guess. Okay. Sounds like a pretty bad podcast.
Yeah. Well,
Definitely
you're welcome.
nobody would listen to it beyond a few minutes being like, what is this really all they're doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my first idea.
Okay. You have a title for it? Check 1. Check 2.
Check yourself.
Check yourself and you will never wreck yourself because you don't do anything
Yeah.
else.
Check yourself. A very clever title for a very dumb podcast.
Yep. All right. Then let's move on to another idea.
Yeah. Maybe you should have a go at it.
Okay. So in the vein of bad ideas,
Mm-hmm.
I had an idea. Actually, this was inspired by a podcast that I discovered. I started this by saying it's a bad idea. So sorry to the person that does this podcast. But when I discovered it, it seemed like a podcast that we would come up with on this podcast as a dumb idea.
Okay.
And the podcast is called The Dictionary. And he just reads the dictionary.
Wait, this is a real podcast?
It's a real podcast. He's on like episode 165. The episode, or at least the one I saw, was like Ethiopic to ethno-nationalism or something. Like,
So does he have a lot of subscribers?
I have no idea. I don't think you can see that on Spotify or whatever. But
Oh, okay. So we could say that lots of people listen to our podcast and no one would know.
that's true. We have talked about just pretending to be a famous podcast
Yeah.
already before. Yeah.
We could just make up like people that have sent in all ideas.
Yeah.
This one's from Jenny in Philadelphia.
But that still means we need to come up with the ideas.
Yeah.
So I guess we could just blame our especially bad ideas on
Yeah,
Jenny
thanks,
from Philadelphia.
Jenny, stop writing us.
You've sent enough ideas, Jenny from Philadelphia. No, you haven't actually. If you're listening, Jenny, send us more
All
ideas.
the Jennies in Philadelphia, please send us your ideas.
So this podcast is called The Dictionary. He reads the dictionary. I guess he tries to make jokes and stuff, but it's just one guy. And I listened to 10 minutes of it or something. And it was like half-hour episodes or something. And I was like, if I wanted this content, I could just go read a dictionary
You could
myself.
just go read a dictionary.
Because he was like,
Does he have like comments on the things? Or
I don't
does he
know.
just read it?
I can't, like I said, I think there's hundreds of episodes or like already 160 or something episodes. So I obviously haven't listened to more than some of one episode. So I can't say about the quality in general. The one I listened to, it was kind of boring. He like said some stuff, like some comments about stuff, but like all I really remember was him talking about like, I think he was talking about Ethiopic religion or something like that. And like how it's related to Judaism and Gentiles. And he said something like,
and it's just one guy.
just one guy, and he said something like Gentiles. I don't really know what that means. I think it has meanings that I don't really understand. It's like, bro, you're reading the dictionary. You're the one who's supposed to understand meanings of things. Like,
Yeah.
that's the whole podcast, right? Like,
You could look it up.
you could read ahead a little bit to
Yeah.
Gentiles.
Yeah. You literally have a dictionary in front of you.
So it's like, there was also didn't seem to be edited really, which like, I get it. It's a lot of work, but like he like stumbled through saying stuff and started over, and that was still in the edit, still on the podcast.
Yeah.
So like, when we are like, blah, 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 let's start over. I edit that out, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't seem totally worth my time.
Yeah,
So
shout
sorry
out to our editor, Miles Grover, who spends hours editing this podcast just for you.
Because I really
week.
care about you, the listener,
Yeah.
not being bored and turning our podcast off.
Hopefully.
Anyway, yeah, that's I do what I can. I've only got so much to work with as an editor.
Yeah, sorry for not giving you much to work with.
Yeah, I'm also sorry to me for that. Anyway, I'm not saying that podcast is bad per se. I only listened to a little bit of it, so it might be better than
It might be for somebody.
and it might be better. But so my idea was an even worse idea for a podcast, which
Okay.
is we read the phone book.
Can you even still get a phone book?
I was thinking about that. I bet we could find one. I bet there's one at the library or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You could take out or maybe photocopy.
So this year we are reading the phone book from 1984.
Yeah, we're just like are we? I mean, obviously we can talk.
And you got to pick a city, right? Like you'd never run out of content.
Yeah, that's true, right? Like every city has one, every year has one, assuming they still make them. I guess we could also just look up. They're probably online somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But it'd probably be more interesting to look at ones from the 80s or whatever. And we could, because there's not just the white pages, there's also the yellow pages.
Yeah.
So there might be actually interesting stuff in
Yellow
there.
pages would probably be a bit more interesting than the white pages.
Yeah, just like, all right, Smith J.
Do we read the
Smith
phone
P,
numbers and
Smith-
everything?
Yeah, I guess.
So we're like doxing people.
Sort of, but if you dox everyone, you're kind of doxing no one.
Yeah.
And also, these are public, and they're
Yeah.
also 40 years out of date.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
probably wouldn't actually be dangerous.
So boring and unhelpful.
Useless and boring. But, it could surprise us and actually be slightly interesting occasionally.
I'm just thinking about how, I enjoy recording this podcast, but there are some days where I'm like, I just don't, I don't have as much energy today.
Yeah.
Like it's been a long day.
And you're saying the prospect of reading the phone book would really
Yeah.
put a pep in your step and really get you on board.
Yeah, no, that's the opposite of what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
misread that, I
I can see this being a little bit more of a mental roadblock to actually recording a podcast.
On the other hand, though, you never have to worry about content. You just show up.
You can
All right.
literally phone it in.
Yeah, you could. You show up, I read one page, hand it to you, you read that page. And that probably took enough time because we're just chatting about the stuff.
Yeah.
Can you believe this guy's name is, Philip? What a weirdo.
Donald McDonald.
Yeah, that was in the show we
Donald?
just watched.
Was it Donald?
Donald.
Donald?
I think it's Donald.
Donald McDonald. We're watching The Tourist right now
Yeah.
on Netflix.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right. I'm enjoying it somewhat.
Somewhat. It's all right. It's probably better than reading the phone book.
It is. That is true of most things.
Most things, but not all things. Some things are worse than reading the phone book, like a sharp stick in the eye.
Yeah. Well,
Better than a sharp stick in the eye.
yeah.
That would be our.
Is that? Are you thinking of that because somebody got stabbed in the eye the last episode
Oh
we
no,
watched?
that's just a saying.
You just
It's
oh.
better. Something such
That's
and
a
such.
saying?
Such and such. It's better than a sharp stick in the eye.
I've never heard that saying.
Yeah, it's a saying.
Are you
And that
sure?
yeah, pretty sure. And that could be our tagline. Like, listening to this podcast is better than a sharp stick in the eye.
All right.
And nobody could really argue with us on that one.
They could just not listen to our podcast though.
That's true. But you might get some people like, is there really a podcast that just reads the 1984 Albany phone book or whatever?
Yeah, our average listen time would probably be pretty low. People would check it out to see is this really what they're doing? And then they'd be like, yep, this is really what they're doing. Much like you did with the guy with the dictionary. And then
Yeah.
they'd be like, all right, I'm done with this.
So that episode was 30 minutes long. There was a different podcast. I was like just looking around at different podcasts because we do a podcast, and I was looking at podcasts anyway. And this podcast that somebody was posting a link to their podcast. It was like,
I feel like you've said podcast a lot of times.
I have this podcast. I say it a lot of times in this podcast.
Are you trying to teach Rory the word podcast because he's not in the room right now?
No, I will play this for him while he sleeps, and then he'll know the word podcast. No, anyway, this one was like just like sort of interesting facts, sort of random interesting facts, and each episode was like 2 to 5 minutes.
Huh.
And I'm just confused. Like, who listens to that? No offense to that person, like that makes this podcast or whatever. Maybe it works. Maybe it's good. I don't know. But like, I listened to one episode. I was like, yeah, okay, that was fine. I'm not gonna just put it on play on shuffle or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it seems like a weird format to me.
Yeah.
That said, our phone book podcast could be 2 minutes of reading a phone book, and by the time the person realizes that that's all there is, they've already listened to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or 50% of it or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to look good on our stats. Most people listen to the whole episode. That's good.
I mean, because that's what we're concerned with is
not having
stats.
A successful podcast.
Not-
It's
and
looking
not-
good in statistics.
and not having a good time
Yeah.
or
Or making in the world better, or anybody happy in the world. Yeah. No. Purely about the stats on, Apple Podcast dashboard.
Clearly, that's why we made this podcast.
Yeah, clearly. You can tell from how good the stats are. Okay, so that's that stupid idea. It's called The Phone Book, and its tagline is, it's better than a sharp stick in the eye.
Yeah, I don't think we should make that.
No?
No.
If we had a phone book handy, I would give it a try, but who has a phone book even?
Yeah, I really don't think phone books are still being delivered.
I feel like they've been delivered more recently than seemed like made sense, but I don't think it's been a few years at least.
I kind of want to Google it.
Okay.
There are several publishers of these books, and some offer printed versions while others have only online versions and directories. Most landline subscribers are entitled to a free print directory, but if you just moved or aren't getting a copy, there are ways you can order a phone book for your home or office. Okay, so we don't get a phone book because we don't have a landline, because who has a landline anymore?
Right, we don't have a landline. That's probably, that must be why we don't see them anymore. Probably there
are people out there.
I'm sure there's people out there who still have landlines and maybe still get it delivered, but
I think the Venn diagram is people who have a landline, people who still have rotary phones, and
it's like
people
it's like a rotary.
People who find phone books useful.
The diagram itself is a rotary thing.
Yeah, it's a rotary diagram.
I guess I think definitely
we have a rotary phone.
We do?
Yeah, it's got little movable eyeballs.
Oh yes, Rory has
and
one.
wheels.
Yes, that's true. I mean, phone books were a thing still long after we were on touch-tone phones.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm just saying, like, people that
You're
it was
saying
my
it's
way
like,
of saying the people that have landlines are old.
Right.
Those are the only people I can imagine still like have a use for landlines. Though I guess like maybe if you were running a business out of your home and needed to like fax things.
Yeah, there's some reasons too, but I wonder what the stats are, because I bet it's pretty low at this point.
Yeah.
How many people still have landlines?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's not. I mean, maybe a lot of people just had a landline for a long time and never bothered to turn it off or whatever, I guess.
We have a lot of phone jacks in our house.
That's true. We painted over some of them.
Yeah, a number of them.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of annoying actually that there are so many phone jacks in this house.
Yeah. It's an old house.
Yeah. So many useless phone jacks.
All right. Do you have another idea?
I have one more.
Lay it on me.
A podcast where we review Netflix shows.
Okay. That's
It's not a particularly exciting idea.
more straightforward than our ideas usually are.
Yeah. Well, I was having trouble coming up with ideas this week.
Mm-hmm. And you've been watching some Netflix shows.
And yeah, so
But
I
it has
was
to be
just
like
kind of a like, say, what do you see in the room with you right now?
Yeah.
Type thing. I'm still getting over being sick, so it's drug on.
So it would be only Netflix originals or anything that's on Netflix?
I was thinking Netflix originals, but I guess we could do anything that's on Netflix. But I think it would be like kind of fun to just do Netflix originals because like there's probably some real bad ones.
Yeah. I think this show could be called like When Will It Get Canceled? Because Netflix shows get canceled way too soon.
Yeah.
Pretty much always. Unless they're like really cheap reality shows.
Yeah.
Cheap to make, I mean.
Yeah.
No judgment per se on the reality shows, but
Yeah.
like
'Cause The Tourist is a Netflix show, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it only will have 2 seasons. It's also only 6 episodes a season.
Yeah.
So. But like there was that show, what was it called? Like 1849 or 1863 or whatever it was. Like
yeah, that was a good one.
1899
I was
maybe.
very sad about that.
Yeah, it was cool. And it was like a cliffhanger at the end of the first
Time travel
season.
and yeah, what was that called? Now it's bugging me. It was 1899. It's the same people that did Dark.
Yeah, and Dark was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if I needed 3 seasons. I think there were 3 seasons of Dark. I don't know if we needed all 3 of those seasons.
Oh, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
But that show, 1899, was definitely interesting and kind of ended on a cliffhanger, and they were going to make more, and then got canceled.
Yeah, I was pretty bummed about that one.
It's like only the biggest ones don't just get canceled quickly.
Yeah.
Like Stranger Things isn't getting canceled because like everyone
Obviously,
watches
yeah.
that. But okay, so you're watching This Is Us.
That one's not a Netflix show.
Oh, it's not?
I don't think.
Oh, I thought it was, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, maybe I'm wrong now. Let me see. It's hard to know anymore, really.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it was an NBC show, maybe. Let me see. Well, anyway, This Is Us. I don't think anybody really. Yeah, it was an NBC show.
Okay.
I don't think anybody needs me to like review This Is Us. It's a pretty big show. I'm just late to the game.
Yeah. Well, I don't know anything about
Finally
it.
getting around to watching
But
it.
that's fine. You've watched a lot of
Love is Blind.
Blind, including the Swedish version.
Yeah, well, I was waiting for the new US episodes to come out and I needed something to fill the gap. And the Sweden one was actually better. I enjoyed that one quite a bit.
I've heard a lot of people reference that show, so I think it must be fairly big.
Love is Blind?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 We're watching The Tourist.
Wait, we've watched 1899. We've watched Dark. Anything that
Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan does.
Yeah. Yeah, we've watched a lot of his shows.
Yeah.
Haunting Hill House, Haunting Bly Manor, Midnight Mass is what it's called.
Midnight Mass.
The Midnight Society.
Midnight Society, which got canceled.
Yep.
Sadly. Fall of the House of Usher,
Right.
which was fantastic.
Which was all right. Yeah, it was pretty good.
That's one of the only ones that I turned around and watched a second time.
Oh, yeah.
Within like a week.
Yeah, so there's a bunch that we watch, I guess. That would be not too hard to come up
A
with
show where we
content.
just list off all the Netflix shows we've seen.
We don't actually review them. We just say, we saw that one.
We saw this.
That sounds pretty on brand for us,
This
actually.
is a thing you could watch.
Because I feel like a lot of times it's like, I don't actually remember what happened that well, but I definitely did watch that.
Yeah, you
If
gotta
it's
take
been a little
like-
while, you know?
Yeah, you gotta take like notes really. Like
Yeah.
the Tourist I am enjoying. I think I'm enjoying it maybe a little bit more than you are.
Yeah, I'm fairly neutral about it, I guess. It's all right, but I also find some stuff about it pretty dumb and annoying.
Like Ethan.
Yeah, like there's a character who, like, there was an arc in the first season where the other character learned to realize he sucked and dumped him. And it's like, okay, now season 2, he's back. And nobody wanted that.
But maybe
Why?
he'll get murdered or something. Like
I don't particularly want him to get murdered
but
either.
but like it's getting there. They'll get you there.
Yeah. I mean, he's trying to do better. He's not doing a good job at it, but he's at least trying, which makes it like...
But he's not trying to do better to be a better person. He just wants to like win her back.
Yeah, maybe.
And
But,
he's not doing a good job at being a better person either.
right.
He's like, oh, I just didn't try hard enough.
Yeah,
she wants me
she
to
hung
go
up on me.
bigger.
She hung up on me because she wants me to try harder. is what he
Yeah.
said. Which is, yeah. I mean, there's some kind of commentary going on there, I guess. But it's like commentary. I'm past that conversation as far as like, you know,
Yeah, but
shitty dudes and
But
like.
a lot of people aren't.
I know, but I'm just saying for me, I don't care
Yeah.
about him. I don't need him to be on the show. I don't care about that arc anymore or whatever. It's over and could have just been left. And I'm sure anyway, he's joining.
He's going to be annoying.
Yeah, he's going to be annoying.
He's back to be annoying again.
Okay, so
He's back to be the bumbling antagonist.
Yeah, I mean, he's a really minor antagonist compared to other things in the show. But
Yeah.
so if we're going to review stuff, are we reviewing just like we liked it or didn't like it? Or are we like trying to delve into themes and like literary merit or whatever, like artistic merit, I guess?
I don't know if I feel qualified to delve into like themes and literary merit and stuff.
Yeah, but I also feel like, and I say yeah because I mean, I have an English degree, but I also feel that way because it takes a lot of work to really analyze something, you know, to maybe a satisfying degree. But on the other hand, I don't think I can avoid doing some amount of like analysis on that level. And it would be, I don't know, I wouldn't love it if we were doing like a shallow analysis to some extent.
Yeah.
And I also don't know, like,
The other problem I see with this is that I am enthusiastic to a fault about things. Like, I'm not an overly critical person. So any amount of like, something has to be really bad for me to be like, yeah, that was bad.
I mean, we've had stuff where we've watched things. I don't know if they were all Netflix things.
I just want to point out what an eloquent sentence that was.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. We've watched things that we got a few episodes in and we're like, this is pretty bad. Let's not keep going.
Yeah.
And so would we?
But I feel like I'm more likely to say that if you say it first.
Sure. I'm just wondering, like, would we feel like we should complete those things, or just be like, we watched a couple episodes and it sucked, and this is why. And
yeah,
and not, you know, like, I guess I'm just trying to flesh out what kind of show it would be like what the show would be like.
I mean, I don't know. Would you feel like it would drive you crazy to commit to watching to something that you're not enjoying? So I do feel like that's part of reviewing things.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't drive me crazy, but it would feel like a waste of time. I guess it would feel like less of a waste of time if I'm, I guess, taking notes so I can trash it on the podcast later. But
what's the worst thing you've watched on Netflix?
Oh, you mean like, because I've watched plenty of things that were bad that I enjoyed because they were so bad enough.
No, like didn't enjoy.
Yeah, as soon as you ask that question, I can't remember any shows I've watched on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a really bad one that I've watched on Netflix.
I'd have to look at my like watch history or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you can still find that, but
Let's see. I have it on my phone. Let's see if I can pull it up. Dead to Me was one.
did we finish Dead to Me? I think we stopped watching.
We didn't finish it.
Yeah, we stopped watching. That's one where we were like, what was that, the third or fourth season?
Yeah.
And it was kind of feeling extra soap opera-y, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Umbrella Academy.
Umbrella Academy, the last season we watched, I don't remember if it's the second season, third season.
Oh, I know one that I watched on Netflix that was really bad recently.
What?
It was Fool Me Once.
Oh, right. You watched that. I didn't watch that.
Yeah, that was bad. That was awful.
Yeah.
Like,
I did kind of see the conclusion and it seemed stupid.
it was really stupid.
I would say that Umbrella Academy, I remember when we watched that Umbrella Academy season, the latest one, whichever one that was.
Yeah,
We didn't like, neither of us liked it that much, I don't think.
Yeah.
It was like, the aesthetics were still good. Like, it's a nice looking show.
The storyline wasn't great.
But the storyline was dumb in like several different ways, I feel like.
Yeah, there's still one more season of Umbrella Academy coming.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. No, it should, like, I'm going to see it out.
Yeah, we'll watch it. It wasn't bad enough to stop watching, but it was like disappointing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really think of any others that I have hated.
Yeah, I'm sure there have been some, but
that was one that I watched that the whole time I was like, this is really dumb. But it was like, I was just interested enough in the mystery to like keep going with it.
yeah.
But it was very bad. Like, it was very like overwrought.
Yeah.
Like lots of flashbacks where you didn't need flashbacks, lots of like dramatic flashbacks, and then like a lot of the reveals were just really like obvious. And it's like, well, yeah, okay, I figured out that's what was going on.
Right.
And I really like a good mystery, so I get really upset when it's disappointing like that.
Sure. Okay,
so I guess that's my button.
This is an okay idea. It's pretty straightforward. There probably are podcasts that do this already.
Yeah.
We could be one of them, I guess. It would be reasonably easy. I mean, there'd be plenty of content, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know it'd be that fun per se, but it could be all right.
It could be hard to find the time too, given that we have a baby.
Yeah. And we end up watching different stuff so that we, have time to do other stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'll be working on, editing a podcast or something, and you'll watch a show, or I'll watch a show while you're doing something or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess we could.
Yeah, finding time to watch things together is an even bigger
issue.
challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Should we go to another idea?
Yes. But it should probably be another idea from you because I'm out.
Yes, that was the plan. This one, I think this is actually kind of two ideas that are
Nope, that's not allowed.
are closely they're similar ideas, but they're a little bit different angles, I guess. Or they're similar ideas in concept and very different in specifics, I guess.
Okay.
So the idea is it's called Earth Podcast. And we are Yip Yip aliens.
We're Yip Yips. Okay.
From Sesame Street. And we just talk about the Earth things that we've discovered.
Do we just say them in Yip Yip characters?
Yes,
So
we're the Yip Yip guys.
So we're just like, oh, chicken.
Oh, chicken. Earth chicken. Yeah. Welcome to Earth Podcast. Yip, 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 yip.
Yip, 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 yip.
And like maybe we interview people like
Nope.
Like-
Nope.
yeah, I don't know. But it could be fun.
Yeah.
I don't
Do you just want to talk like a Yip Yip?
well, yes, of course.
Do we wear our Yip Yip costumes?
I mean, I guess we could make a video podcast
Yeah.
as the Yip Yips
I made Yip Yip costumes.
for Halloween
Yeah.
2 years ago, I think.
I think it was,
Might have been 3 years
3.
ago. Yeah.
Yep.
Might have been.
yeah, because it was pre-Rory.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep.
yip.
The intro to the podcast could be just the woo 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 sounds that happen when the aliens come down at the beginning.
Yeah, what's the sound they make when they come down?
I think it's like it's like something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, Earth podcasts.
Oh, podcast. Earth podcast.
Earth podcasts.
Yip.
Yep.
Yip, 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 yip.
Ring.
Bring. That doesn't actually make sense in the podcast because like that only works in that skit because they're trying to figure out what a phone is.
I know.
Unless we combine it with our phone book podcast.
Podcast, yeah. Or it could be that the aliens are calling in on Zoom to record together and it makes a sound. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the content would be other than just
Yip Yip's reading the phone book.
yeah, just talking about something, but it could be fun. And then the other idea that's along similar lines is called Normal Earth Podcast. And it's where we're aliens that are pretending just to be regular people doing a regular normal Earth podcast for some reason. And we would talk about normal Earth things as if we thought they were definitely very normal, but we also didn't actually think that because of the way we talk about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Can
Like,
you give an example.
well, like just saying like this thing is definitely very normal suggests that it's not normal,
right.
right?
Okay.
So I don't know. It would just be that. I don't have too much past that as far as
Like
what
we
would
talk about like going to a dance club or something.
yeah, or going to a restaurant or just doing normal human things that we all do. Fellow
And I
humans.
did the normal thing of putting food into
I guess
my mouth hole.
I guess thinking about it, it would be that one webcomic. You know, the one with the aliens.
Yeah, and the Nathan Pyle one.
Yeah, the Nathan Pyle one. Yeah. Which is a good comic.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, could we really improve upon that?
Yeah,
Probably not.
I guess we could just like steal stuff from that. But yeah, that wouldn't be great.
Yeah, that wouldn't be great. No.
I mean, it was a joke, but
Or you could just read the comic on the air because we
that
know
could
you
be-
love
we
to do that.
We do love doing that. So those are some ideas. I don't know if they've got legs, but I thought they could be funny to talk about.
Some aliens have legs.
The Yip Yips don't really, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have a lot of tentacles.
They have some tentacles, that's true.
Yeah. But I just assume most puppets don't have legs.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. I mean, Kermit has legs.
Does
a lot of
he?
the Muppets have legs.
Does he?
Yeah.
I guess he does.
He sits on a log and stuff, right?
Yeah. But he has useless legs.
Yeah, they don't usually work. It's like a special thing they have to do if they want to make the puppet actually walk on its legs at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. I don't know if those are where we want to go with this today. I do have another idea. My next idea is called Pattern Recognition.
Okay.
And it's a show where we talk about patterns like stripes and polka dots and houndstooth.
What is the
and
best pattern?
Herringbone. Yeah, what's the best
Why
pattern?
is it stripes?
What about, there's different kind of stripes. What about pinstripes? What about zebra stripes or tiger stripes or candy stripes or barber pole stripes? It's
Do you have a
another
lot of commentary on patterns?
it's another in the vein of things that are visual that it's dumb to talk about in an audio medium, I guess.
What's your least favorite pattern?
I don't know. I feel like almost any pattern can suck if the colors are bad, you know?
Camouflage.
Camouflage, yeah, I'm not a big fan. Especially, what's your least? We could do a whole episode on just different kinds of camouflage, because there's like the one the military uses now. I think is like the digital looking camouflage.
Oh yeah,
which is I feel like even uglier.
Yeah.
And I feel like I read that it was proven not to actually be better at camouflage than the other kinds were, or whatever.
Just better at being ugly.
I guess. But there's floral pattern, arabesques, floral patterns.
I'm not a fan of paisley.
I like paisley sometimes, but it can easily be ugly also.
Tie-dye?
Argyle, tie-dye.
Does that count as a pattern?
Yeah, I guess so. Kind of. I mean, it's our podcast. We can do what we want.
Yeah.
How many patterns are named after places in Scotland? Because so far, Paisley and Argyle are two I can think of.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's more. Maybe Scotland had a lot of
Is there a
textiles or
houndstooth
something
in England somewhere? Sounds like it would be a town in England.
I feel like it's named for the shape. It's kind of
Oh,
tooth-shaped, maybe.
Yeah.
There's honeycomb. There's lots of patterns is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we could talk about them.
Yeah. I
as
just
a
don't know what we
podcast.
have to say about them.
There's that one that is the carpet in The Shining. Do you know what that one looks like?
I don't remember offhand, but I just feel like, what do we say about a pattern beyond I like it or I don't like it?
We try to describe it to the listeners. Okay, here's what I'm going to try to practice this and describe the pattern of the carpet from The Shining on the podcast and see how this goes.
Okay.
Okay, so the main colors.
I think I can predict how this is going to go.
The main colors are black, orange, and red, and it's kind of like honeycomb, except there's a line that connects across different honeycombs, across the different hexagons. It's like a red hexagon surrounded by a black hexagon, but the black hexagon is more than just a black hexagon because it also continues, one of the lines continues to the next ones. Is this making literally any sense at all? Probably not.
I mean, it is if you're looking at the picture,
Yeah.
which I am, and our listeners are not.
Yeah, and it's orange. I mean, our listeners can look it up pretty easily, I guess, but
Yeah.
for some reason I've seen this pattern a bunch lately.
It's like, it looks like it would be in like, yeah, it's very 70s.
It is very 70s. I feel like it's kind of like a cross between a honeycomb and like a circuit board,
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
sort of.
This is probably very bad audio.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea.
So,
It'd be funny to try to describe things that are hard to describe
yeah.
and are way easier just to see.
Yeah. You think that someone out there wants to listen to that?
Well, it's not impossible. It's better than a sharp stick in the eye. That could be this podcast.
Do you got anything else for me?
As far as patterns go?
No, ideas.
Oh, more ideas. I do have more ideas.
I don't feel like we've hit on a winner yet this week.
Okay. Well, so let's just quickly go over what we have talked about.
All right.
We had the Yip Yip Aliens one.
Mm-hmm.
We had the pretending to be alien, similar pretending to be aliens one.
Mm-hmm.
We had reading the dictionary or the phone book out loud.
Reviewing Netflix shows.
Reviewing Netflix shows.
And
it was a podcast that's all mic checks.
yeah, I'll
right?
make checks.
So yeah, I guess I'm not necessarily super feeling any of those. I mean, I do think it would be kind of funny just to read the phone book, but we don't have a phone book, so
We could probably find one online.
yeah, probably.
But I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, let's see some other ideas. You know about the Backrooms?
uh-huh.
Apparently, they're making a movie about the Backrooms. A24 is. So if you don't know what the Backrooms are, it's basically like an internet meme, or not even a meme, but like a like sort of shared
There's a
fiction.
word for it, but yeah.
There's sort of a shared fiction. The idea is that like you somehow glitch out of reality into the Backrooms, and the Backrooms are like the first. There's many levels of it, I guess, at this point. But the first level is just like an infinite, like peeling yellow wallpaper office space with like nobody in it and nothing really in it, but it's just
basically describing like rooms that are unsettling in some way.
yeah, and they go on forever. It's like an alternate dimension. It's what actually it's similar to is the house in House of Leaves.
Yeah, it's very House of Leaves.
House of Leaves-ish.
Yeah.
Which if you haven't read that novel, I guess doesn't tell you much, but there's multiple people have come up with a bunch of different levels in the back rooms. So there's the main first one that's like yellow, just like yellow office space that goes on forever with like, shag carpeting that's also ugly and probably the whole thing smells kind of weird or whatever. And then there's ones like there's the pool rooms, I think it's called, which is like a level that's just like all like tiled pool areas.
Yeah.
And it's like light everywhere, but you can't see sky anywhere. And it's like sort of all the water is kind of warm and there's nobody in there.
Svetlana introduced us to this and is pretty obsessed
pretty
with
into
it.
Anyway, so the idea is we would be Backrooms Explorers on the podcast and talk about different Backrooms things, I guess, and what it's like to be there.
So we would act like we were actually exploring these different spaces.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess that could be kind of fun. We'd have to know a lot about the Backrooms, which I don't feel like I do.
Yeah, I guess so.
But
So that's an idea.
so that could be hard because we are allergic to research.
True. I mean, I've watched some videos about that. I mean, it's all made up anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess we could
kind of make up whatever we want.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff people say I find kind of dumb.
I didn't know they were making a movie.
Yeah, there's like a YouTube channel that had a bunch of like supposedly found footage. Obviously it's not real, but found footage of the back rooms. And I think he's like 17 or something, and he's making a movie with A24 now based on that, which I only watched like a little bit of some of those videos, but they seemed like pretty decent production value. The thing about a lot of the videos is that like, I think they're just pretty basic CGI, but it's really easy to make it look realistic if you put a heavy VHS filter over it, basically, and it's like glitchy and like like VHS had like the lines that would kind of go off and stuff.
Yeah, grainy
and glitchy and stuff, and that basically gets rid of anything you would be able to tell was wrong with a lot of it.
VHS cheat code.
Yeah, basically, but it looks pretty good, so because of that. But yeah, I don't know if we have enough to go off of with that. Another one.
We've been going for a while, so like I feel like we should pick something, but nothing's really grabbing me this week.
Yeah, I mean, we could just jack the dictionary idea and look up start the dictionary at A. I have a big ass dictionary. Actually, it might be kind of interesting because I have an Oxford English dictionary from the OED from like 1912 or something like that.
Interesting for who, Miles?
Well, it might be interesting
for who?
It might be interesting in that there will be words that we don't know, like that aren't used anymore or have different definitions now or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you're just going to start at the beginning?
I guess we could.
We're just going to trade the dictionary back and forth?
I guess, and maybe it would be something. Or maybe not. Maybe, there is another podcast like that already. We would be jacking their stees or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's making me feel sleepy just thinking about it.
That's fair. Okay, another idea is we could talk about Hearthstone. We both play Hearthstone, Battlegrounds mostly.
I don't play Hearthstone very well, but I do play Hearthstone.
Yeah, I was thinking we could like...
I haven't been able to... I've been bouncing between like 5,000 and 5,500.
Well, if you got to 5,500, you wouldn't go back down below it because there's a floor there.
Oh, okay. Then I must have only gotten to 5,400.
Yeah.
I'm back down to almost to 5,000.
So Hearthstone, if you don't know, Hearthstone is a digital card game. It's similar to like Magic the Gathering, except you can't trade the cards because they're all digital.
And Miles introduced me to it when we first started dating.
It came out in 2014, so it's on its 10-year anniversary this year.
Yeah.
But it's still a good game, and there's a mode. So the main mode, you have to buy packs to get the cards, and hopefully you get enough packs to get all the cards you want to build the decks you want to build or whatever. But the mode that we play is called Battlegrounds, and you don't have to buy any cards for that, and it's kind of a different mode where it's an auto battler. So
it's like it's kind of like auto chess, but
you set up your board.
Cross between Hearthstone and auto chess.
You have a turn where you set up your board, and then it goes. You randomly fight one of the other people, and then your minions randomly attack their minions. And if you had a better board or whatever, and you got luckier, then you win. And
I like it because you only have to place in the top 4 for it to be considered a
Because
win.
there's 8 people in every lobby.
Yeah.
So top 4.
So like sometimes it's like I lost, but not as bad. Not that, but I still got a win out of it. So that's pleasant. I don't know. What do we talk about as far as Hearthstone?
Well, I was thinking maybe we could like make up cards that could be funny, or we could even talk about. Do you remember there was that AI generated set of cards from like a few years ago before AI was like good like it is now, where it's actually kind of hard to get AI to produce stupid stuff. It usually sounds right, at least, even if it's factually wrong,
Yeah.
like all like ChatGPT and stuff, all the current LLMs, large language model AIs.
Problem with this is I feel like it's only going to be fun for people that like enjoy Hearthstone.
Yeah. Which is a few million people, but probably
are any of them listening to this podcast?
Possibly not anybody listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, that was another idea then. We could talk about...
Is this going to be the week that we don't come up with something to dig deeper into? Because we're at almost an hour now.
It's not the only week, because we did this a few weeks ago.
Oh.
We had one where we called it the podcast about nothing.
See, this is why we need you, dear listener, to send us your ideas.
Yeah.
Because we're scraping the bottom of the barrel at this point.
Oh, I've got lots more ideas.
Yeah.
They started at the bottom of the barrel. That's the problem. How about this one? It's called Who Figured This Out? And we talk about who figured out cheese. Who decided to eat the rotten milk in a sheep's stomach and it turned out good?
Yeah. Do you think we can find the answer to that?
It's not I don't think it's about finding out the answer. It's more about like thinking about stuff or like bread, right? Who figured out that if you leave some flour and water somewhere so that it gets infected with yeast and then it gets hot, it will rise up and turn into bread or whatever. So it's more about like who figured out that you could, like, how did someone figure out stuff that we take for granted now?
Yeah.
Right? Like talking about stuff that we take for granted, but somebody had to, or like honey, like who was like...
Well, that was bees.
No, I know, but who was like, I see some bees barfing over there, I should eat that, right? I should reach into that nest of stinging death animals and eat their barf.
Stinging death animals.
Right?
How about a podcast where we just come up with alternate names for creatures?
Yeah. Stinging death animals is pretty good for bees, I guess. I mean, there's a bunch of these though, right? Like,
right.
Right. Like who figured out chocolate, right? Because chocolate, you have to...
It's a whole process.
It's a huge process. You have to like get the things off the trees, and inside those is a bunch of beans, and you have to roast the beans, and then you have to crush the beans up, and then you have to mix it with butter or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how to make chocolate exactly, but it's a big process.
Food scientists.
Well, no, because before scientists existed, they had chocolate, right? The Aztecs had chocolate.
Well, they had food scientists, but they didn't call them food scientists.
Sure, I guess. Kind of.
They called them
that weird guy with the chocolate.
Foodie Fred.
Foodie Fred. It was Foodie Fred came up with all these, actually. Yeah. I guess we figured it out. That's who figured these out. Another one, cocaine. Who figured out how to make who figured out that it was good to do cocaine, right? Or how did they figure that out? Anyway, my point is like we could brainstorm.
Well, babies.
Babies figured out cocaine?
Yeah.
What?
Like, didn't there used to be like, I feel like there was like, or maybe it was, or was that Coca-Cola that had cocaine in it?
Coca-Cola did have cocaine in it at a certain point. I'm
kids were like, this soda is great.
I don't think the kids invented Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Capitalism invented cocaine, I'm pretty sure.
Again, I think it existed pre-capitalism.
You think so?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
probably not in the same forms it does now.
There's a plant it comes from, right?
Yeah, it comes from a coca plant.
There's just people like experimenting eating plants,
I guess. But like, again, I don't know how to make cocaine, and it's probably like a secret how to make it. Maybe I don't know, but like,
yeah, we better not Google that one.
I'm not gonna Google it, but I'm pretty sure it's a process to get it from a plant to like a white powder you snort or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, the point is not any of these particular things, although we could talk more about like, sticking your hand in a swarm of death bugs to get their barf to eat it, maybe. But we could brainstorm like different things that we take for granted that like how did somebody figure that out or whatever?
Yeah.
Who was like, I should suck on that cow's teats and have some milk from that cow, right?
But that one I think probably is pretty easy to figure out, right?
I guess.
Like that cow has something similar to a boob, and boobs make milk, so
Yeah, but adults don't drink boob milk, right? And actually, adults in most of the world can't drink cow's milk either.
yeah.
It's mainly Northern Europeans that drink milk and aren't lactose intolerant, I guess. But
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, like, probably a lot of things were just born out of, like, necessity. We need to not starve.
yeah, for sure. I think that's the vast majority of it is like, I'm so hungry, I'll even eat this rotten milk in a sheep's stomach. Hey,
Yeah.
actually, it's kind of good
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
Because cheese is made with rennet, which comes from sheep stomachs.
Yeah.
That's why I say that
yeah.
for cheese. I don't know. Do we want to talk more about this or should I keep diving in my ideas?
I mean, I think
We are pretty deep in the episode.
we're pretty deep into the episode, so we might as well just talk about this for a little bit and then
Call it.
call it. Yeah, because I don't think we've got time for a deep dive this week.
Okay. Can you think of any other things that are funny to think about how somebody figured it out?
Figs.
Figs. I mean, figs are just a fruit, but the way that they are made by nature is crazy. So we can
Yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah,
If you don't know about figs, basically the way that
we're about to ruin them for you, so I
Yeah.
hope you don't like them too much.
if you eat figs, you've eaten a lot of tiny dead wasps.
Yeah,
Because the way that figs are pollinated is a female wasp crawls inside the fig fruit or whatever through a tiny hole where her like wings break off and stuff, so she can't leave. And then she lays a bunch of eggs, and which I guess she was already pregnant when she goes in there or something like that.
yeah,
She lays a bunch of eggs and dies. All those eggs hatch, and then the females and the males mate, I guess. And then the males all die, and some of the females are able to crawl out the holes while they're little. And then they fly to another fig fruit and go in there and do the whole thing again.
yeah.
So they're full of tiny dead wasps, which is
Real
pretty
gross.
gross. Pretty
Yeah.
gross. I've never liked figs, which I am
Not even
glad of.
fig Newtons.
I ate them sometimes as a kid, but I would much prefer like a strawberry one or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't like the fig flavored ones particularly.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they're ruined for me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like once I found out the wasp thing, I was like, no more fig Newtons for me.
Right. I think vegans sometimes don't want to eat them because of this as well.
Yeah. Which honestly, like even if you're vegan, how can you be pro wasp?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't like.
I guess, and I don't know how like industrial fig production works and how they might, exploit the wasps or whatever.
I mean, I guess the wasps are clearly like pollinating some things, so I guess they're not completely useless. But
Right. But they do kind of ruin the one thing that they pollinate. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe they pollinate other things too,
they
but
probably pollinate other things too.
yeah, but this particular one is pretty nasty.
Yeah.
But that one's sort of the opposite of like who came up with it. Cause that one's like, hey, look, a thing I can eat. Hey, it doesn't taste too bad.
Yeah.
And then later we figured out that it's horrible.
Yeah.
Right.
Who like decided to crush up those red bugs to make dye?
Oh yeah. The like beetles or whatever. that
Yeah.
make is it red number 5 or something?
Red number 5.
Or
Yep.
something like that. Yeah.
I think it's red number 5.
I don't know. Who figured out that you can make fake vanilla by squeezing a beaver's anus?
What? What?
You didn't know about this? I think it's fake vanilla, but definitely a lot of like a lot of things that have like sweet flavors actually use, I think it's called castoreum or something like that, which is
I did know this.
squeezed
I
out
feel
of
like I maybe blocked this
a beaver's
out.
anal glands. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've all eaten that probably.
So this is really just a podcast where we ruin food for people.
But somebody was like, I'm going to squeeze this. Ooh, it's tasty. It's like vanilla.
Someone squeezed it and tasted it.
Yeah,
Ah.
right? Who did that? Why? Why did they do it? And I guess the answer is they were starving probably.
Yeah. Ugh. They were desperate for cookies.
Basically,
They were desperate for sugar cookies.
desperate for cookies. I think basically the history of all human food and maybe all human ingenuity in general is just desperation,
Yeah.
I guess. Because humans for a long time, we don't live in the world anymore where we worry that much about where food is going to come from. But for a long time, that was,
Yeah.
everybody was worried about that all the time, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder when stuff like that was discovered, right? Like in my mind, I'm picturing like French beaver trappers like squeezing a beaver's butt into their mouth or something. But it's probably older than that, right? Like it probably wasn't just 100, 200 years ago.
Castorum.
I think that's what it's called. And I'm sure cheese is, many centuries or millennia old even, probably.
Used as a tincture in some perfumes and very rarely in foods, it says.
Oh, maybe it's a different word.
No. It is. It's the
Yeah.
it's the beaver one, and it smells like and tastes like vanilla. But it sounds like maybe it's not really used.
Not
in
used as
food.
much anymore.
Yeah, that it was used in perfume.
Hmm.
The dried beaver castor sacs are generally aged for 2 or more years to mellow.
That's another thing too, is that with cheese and wine and I guess beaver anal sacs, you need to also have left it there for, oh my God. What
Castorum?
about?
Wait, hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Castorum fact. Castorum has been traditionally used in Sweden for flavoring a variety of schnapps, commonly referred to as Baverhoit, literally beaver shout.
Beaver shout. Okay, interesting. Do you know about, I think they're called 1,000-year eggs?
No.
Where like, I think it's like a Chinese practice or something.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I do think I know about
Where
this.
you like eat an egg that's been buried for 100 years or something. And like the baby duck is in there or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, but its bones are soft now or something.
Ugh.
I think you just eat the whole thing. I don't know. I've never eaten it. It sounds like the grossest thing ever. But also, again, who decided to do that and was like, actually, this is good. Let's keep doing this.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Well,
So this would be a podcast where we gross ourselves out a lot, I
yeah,
guess.
I mean, I guess like,
I was more thinking about it as like describing stuff in funny ways, like who decided to stick their hand into a nest of death bugs in
Yeah.
order to eat their barf. But
yeah, but instead we've gone into
Yeah.
like, do you like food? We'll fix that for you.
yeah. All right.
Are you
well,
hungry? Not after you listen to this.
Right. Yeah. I guess maybe that's the podcast. today.
Yeah, this is a good note to end on.
100-year eggs. I think that's, or 1,000-year eggs or whatever they're called.
Either way, it's
is
too many
very
years.
gross.
Either
very
way, it's too
gross.
many years.
Yeah. And eggs are a little bit dodgy, even normally.
Right.
Like you don't even like eggs. I like eggs, but even liking eggs, they're pretty dodgy just to begin with, right?
Right.
A little bit too much, something, a little bit too much on either side. It's either too runny or too hard or
Yeah.
too like sat out too long or what. Like it's real easy for eggs to be bad.
You don't want to be reminded of what you're eating.
Yeah, that also. You don't want to remember that you're eating chicken, period.
Yeah.
Basically, right?
Unfertilized.
Although I guess
ovum.
in this case they are fertilized because there's a whole baby
Right,
duck in there or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Ugh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
very nasty.
Ugh. The bone thing is just gonna stick in my head for a while,
Like,
I think.
just like the bones would.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not, I don't know if that is better than a stick in the eye.
I guess one thing we would potentially have to be wary of if we did something like this is being sensitive to other cultures and not just being like, wow, every other culture is gross,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But come on, like there's plenty of good Chinese food. Nobody needs to be eating 100-year-old eggs or
Yeah.
1,000-year-old eggs or whatever.
I mean, I'm vegetarian, so I'm a little bit like more disposed to like hating things like that too.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
I'm never going to be that kind of adventurous.
Well, and I mean, like, I'll eat chicken off the bone, but that's about as far as I get as far as like things that are reminding you that you're eating an animal.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to be eating like a cow tongue or something. Or,
Yeah.
Or eyes. Like, people eat eyes, fish eyes and stuff, I think, sometimes.
Ugh.
Gross. And bone marrow? Not into that either.
Ugh.
I've never actually eaten it as far as I know, but it doesn't sound appealing at all.
No. Well,
So, speaking of not appealing at all, should we do our social media for our podcast, I guess?
Yes, before I vomit. You can find all of our links to our social media if you still want to listen after this on our website, which is coolpodcast.website. You can email us your ideas at ideas@coolpodcast.website. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at whatshouldpod. And yeah, please send us your ideas and we'll give you a shout out. And they'll probably be better than what we've talked about this week.
Can't be much worse.
Can't be much worse.
Hopefully. Don't take that as a challenge though.
Yeah. But also subscribe, like.
Yep. We're on
Share.
YouTube as well if you prefer that. And we've also been I've been making little animations of little clips from the show. So those are fun. You can check those out on YouTube or on Instagram or wherever.
Wherever you want.
Wherever you want.
I mean,
It's your
as long
life.
as it's somewhere where we are.
Well, you could download it and put it somewhere else, I guess.
Yeah. And you
I don't
can
think we
show it to
necessarily
everybody from your phone. That's how I share things
Yeah,
sometimes.
sure. That's fair. You could do that.
Text it to all your friends.
Text it to everyone you've ever met.
Yeah.
Text it to your ex at 2 a.m. Welcome to What Should Our Outro Be About? The outro where we try to figure out what this outro that you're listening to right now should be about. I'm still here.
I'm also still here.
Man, I really don't have much in the tank at this point.
What if we just make mouth sounds?
Mouth sounds?
Mouth sounds. Just like.
Nobody wants that, though. Literally nobody, including us, wants that. So we could do that. We could just like...
We could whistle a jaunty tune. That won't work. I can't whistle.
I don't know what that was, but hopefully it was jaunty.
That's the only tone I can do.
Whistling a jaunty tune, I guess we could do that. Do you have a tune in mind that I could whistle? That's jaunty. What's a jaunty tune?
Oh, Susanna.
That one's actually more fun to sing, though, because the lyrics are such silly nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Rained all night the day I left. The weather, it was dry. Sun so hot I froze to death. Susanna, don't you cry.
I had kind of forgotten the lyrics, I think.
Yeah, they're pretty silly.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that the outro? I feel like it can't be the outro, but
I mean,
maybe.
it can be if we want.
It's our podcast.
It's our podcast.
And it was better. That one was better than a sharp stick in the eye. So that's the bar going forward, I guess.
Yeah, I don't have a lot this week in my
Yeah,
tank.
we're very tired. We got up at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning with Rory
couple
this morning.
nights, couple days in a row now. Actually, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I got to go back to sleep. You got up with Rory.
Yeah, I got
a
a
champ.
little nap later, but I was still quite tired and brain no worky too well. I was gonna say,
Can we just play like clips from Ren and Stimpy as our outro?
You idiot!
Yeah.
I don't actually like Ren and Stimpy that much, and I
What
don't.
about like Mr. Horse?
Mr. Horse is one of the things I do like, but you realize that when you say, "Why don't we just play clips?" You're saying, "Miles, why don't you do a bunch of extra work for this outro?"
Just our outro could just be like Mr. Horse saying, "No, sir, I don't like it."
All right, I guess I'll get that clip, put it here,
No, sir, I don't like it.
and also whistle a jaunty tune.
Whistle the Ren and Stimpy theme song.
I don't know the Ren and Stimpy theme song off the top of my head right now.
Actually, I don't know if it's whistleable.
How about?
Log, it's log, it's big, it's heavy, it's wood.
Log, it's log, it's
Better than bad, it's good. Come on and get your log.
You're gonna love it, log.
Everyone needs a log.
From Blammo. So I guess I did watch Ren and Stimpy.
You liked Ren and Stimpy more than you think.
I like Log and I like the horse, and I actually kind of hate almost everything else. I hate all the zoom, like close-ups of like boogers and butt hairs and whatever and all that stuff.
But come on, Space Madness.
I don't
Space
remember that
Madness is like the best Ren and Stimpy episode.
I don't remember that one. I feel like I know the name, but I don't remember the
Yeah,
episode.
well, we'll watch it.
Will we?
We will.
Probably not.
We might.
All right.
I'll report back next week.
All right. Thanks for listening. We're sorry, and we won't do better next time. Bye. What was that podcast about? I'm trying to figure it out. Didn't catch what that was about.